Hello, it's JJ Humphrey. We're on for OCP, the Oklahoma Correctional Professionals, and we're waiting for Bobby Cleveland. I can't believe that Bobby will not start on time. So we're waiting for him. I think he had to let his dog out or something really, really important, something like that. And so as we get started, though, I want to just bring up an instance that while we're waiting on Bob, and I want to bring up this Oklahoma Correctional Director Harpe's out of state report. Bob, we went ahead and started without you.
Go
We're gonna,
ahead. That's good.
yeah, I wanted to start with this report, Bob, that I got back in August, I think, and I went back and found it. I keep stuff like this, but it's where me and you had brought up that we thought Harpe was not staying in his office as much as what we thought he was traveling a little bit too much. Called him called him out on that, so he come out with the media report on travel, in which he claimed that he had taken 9 trips. This is back in August when this
Right.
was put out. He said in August that he'd taken 9 trips for a total cost, and I'd said I thought 9,000. I was wrong, Bob. He said total cost of $5,447.31. Okay, so that's in its report. Only day was we come back out on OCP and said, yeah, but director, you named all these trips you took, but you didn't name the ACA trips. You forgot, you omitted ACA, and we think you're a little bit short on that. Well, I think it was Fox 23 that went out. Did you see that article that they put out?
Yeah.
I think I may have sent it to you. But Fox 23 come out with a report showing that they had went all over the United States, but showing also they'd went to 3 trips to the ACA. We don't even belong to the ACA, so why are they taking trips to ACA? I thought you let that dog out, Bob.
No, let
ACA,
me in.
and then well, that's good because it's raining. But anyways, they omitted that they went to these ACA trips, and it turns out that according to Fox 23, they spent over 30 something thousand dollars plus 30,000 plus. So, Bob, it looks like the director was not being totally upfront and honest. It looks bad, Bob.
Well, that's interesting because he's cut back on everything with the officers, making it more dangerous for him. I got a prison. We have a prison that on a 4 days, 3 off schedule, and they expect them when they're off to be by their phone in case they have to come in. Well, they don't have to come in because that leaves them only with what they're doing now, leaving only with 6 officers for 1,000 inmates.
Bob, somebody sent me. You may have been the guy that sent me that earlier on text, and I can't hardly. It wants to roll on me. I'm having a hard time reading it, but I was trying. Was that memo from somebody, or was that from the department saying that they
No,
had?
that was from one of the employees.
Oh, from one of the employees who are saying that they're on call. Bob, I don't think they can make you. They don't own you. They don't own you. The department does not own you.
Well, would you say? Would you just say this? Do you think this is in the bullying tactic where they tell you you got to come in or we're going to give you a letter?
Yeah, I mean, I would say
So
that's
Hart says he doesn't bully. He just doesn't bully. This is
well,
nothing but bullying.
that's intimidation, Bob. Because here's the deal: my day off is my day off. Now, I will tell you this: if there's an emergency and you had a riot or something, I don't mind coming in and helping. If you're shorthanded, you want to call me and I'm available and don't mind coming in, that's okay too. But to say that I have to be on call, guess what? If I'm on call, then I need to be paid for being
Right.
on.
That's right.
I don't. My day off is not sit around with the phone. And let me give you an example, Bob. If I'm gonna go watch my kid play ball or something, and we're gonna drive out of town, say I go to Ada, I'm not supposed to go to Ada because I'm on call with you. And then if I drive up there and my kid's gonna ride back with me, they're playing ball, and I'm gonna watch them play ball. And again, I'm supposed to leave. What if my wife's with me? She's supposed to leave because now I'm on call and I need to come back and go to work. No, I don't think that that's. If I'm going to be on call like that, I'm going to get paid for that. And
Well,
other
then they talk about that puts them down where they're working this on this 4 days on, 3 days off, 4 days, three, is they only have 6 or 7 officers plus a lieutenant for a thousand inmates,
That's a problem.
and they're putting everybody's life at danger. But
Well,
I don't think they care.
well, Bob, here's the deal. If I was in charge, I'm going to come out and be transparent and honest on that. I'm going to come out and say, look, we're short-handed and we're in a crisis and we're in a state of emergency. I'm going to declare a state of emergency. Bob, if you'll remember, I actually 3 years ago tried to tell them to declare a state of emergency because you're down 50%. They denied that and later come back and admitted it and then come up with a plan. And we got a big raise and we thought, hey, that'll get people hired. But here's what happened. When we got the big raise, you know what they did, Bob?
They shut hiring down.
They froze hiring. Oh, we didn't freeze it. We didn't freeze it. Yeah, you did. When you stopped hiring people, you froze the hiring. Call it whatever you want. I forgot what crazy name. They rename stuff and they come up with all these crazy names. And that, JJ, you're
Well,
wrong.
it's like that crazy math they use. There's no way that their
It's
math
math.
is accurate.
It's
There's
crazy.
no way. I'll challenge them all day long that they're not being truthful on that app.
Well, Bob, like I say, when you're sitting there at 6 or 7 people to run a prison, where are we talking about? OSP? What prison we talking about? Any one of them though. You got 6 or 7 for anywhere. If you got anywhere close to 1,800 inmates, and you got 6 or 7 people to run your shift, you hurt. I mean, that's sad all day long. And then again, what if you have people coming in sick, or what if you have somebody call, and you got people on? Then I think if you're going to put them on call in, I think they ought to get paid. If they come in, you need overtime. But why did they cut all the overtime? That's what I'm not getting. We talked about this last week, Bob, is that I went back and looked. Me and you got talking about this. And so I went back and looked, and I had our people there on budget and all that stuff look this up. And I've had it listed out. I might call Latoya and see if I can get it again. But we listed out, and I don't know if I sent that to you. I know I told you about it, but one year was like 24, and then the next year was 20 something. I think this year was 27. I've got that in my mind. I think it was 27. There was one that was 32, I think. But that money is for overtime. And I don't think I'll have to go back and specifically ask if this money is put in the budget for overtime, can it be used for anything but overtime?
Well, the point to hit too is we're at our overtime, we're at a crunches, we're in a dangerous situation. And yet he can take and go out and get on a plane and take 4 or 5 people with him. They can go somewhere and spend money that they don't have.
Well, Bob, if you look in that report, they weren't staying at Motel 6. You know what I'm saying?
No.
These suckers are staying at some of the classiest, highest dollar motels there are out there and hotels. And again, I don't have a problem going on you go on a conference once a year, twice a year, you go out here, go out there. I don't have a problem with that. You're going on conference every month. I mean, what he put in August, he had went every month somewhere. And then one month he went to 2 different locations because he said he took 9 trips, but he omitted a bunch of other trips. And so again, if you're taking, so if he didn't report 3 trips, and I don't know, maybe he didn't go on those, but he didn't quite report, he forgot to add all the people he's sending and all the entourage that he takes with him. And he left all that out, you know what I mean? But here's the deal. If you're doing all of those trips, how are you taking care of business? That's what I originally called out, Bob. How you're in a crisis. You're, worst thing I've ever seen, and you're going all over the nation, living large, having a party on the state's dime. And that's what he's doing. He's out partying on state's dime. He goes to these and they have a big fun time, on our dime.
Well, on this particular situation, if this is going on in other places, he's really got them at a dangerous situation. When you're talking about 6 or 7 people that's going to be there for 900 to 1,000 inmates.
Well, Bob, if it's going on there, you know it's going on across the rest of the state.
Right, right.
Every once in a while, you'll have a prison. I don't know. McLeod down here would probably be a good example. They have less hiring problems than some others, but I know that I've talked to them. They're shorthanded. You go over to Hamilton, they have less problems, So some of them may be full staff, but I don't think they are. I mean, from talking to their employees, doesn't sound like they are, but I think they have less problems than some of these other big institutions. But again, man, where you have 1,000, 2,000 people, and you got that kind of manpower, that's spooky. That's
Well,
scary.
JJ, there's got to be a rhyme and reason because I don't think these guys they're smart. I think they are smart. They're smart enough they don't manipulate numbers. But if you let me ask you a question here, they're taking pins away from everybody. So if they're using their pins that they've taken away as their real number, it's not a real number.
Well, Bob, uh, I've got a friend that let me see if I can find. Boy, it aggravates me, Bob. I had that pulled up just a second ago so that we would have that, and then it deleted it on me. But
Well,
Bob, me and you are in a group text with some guys, and I don't know which guy put this out, but I want to read it. It's what me and you're talking about right here, and I want to read.
okay.
Please explain these 300 new officers that they're talking about and these 80% retention rate. Now they're claiming 80%. That's pretty dang high, Bob. 80%.
That's not being
That's
honest.
huge. Okay, we lost over 400 officers in 5 years. So they're saying 80% retention, but we lost 400. If the budget is compared from 2019 versus 2024, we needed 1,736 officers in 2019. But now we only need 1,557, and that's what we're talking about. But now we're fixing to throw in a factor that will blow your mind. And whoever wrote this, I know it's either Jason Ramsey or Cecil. So I know it was one of them three. But guys, I appreciate all that you do, and I appreciate this because this is pretty mind-boggling. This is some good stuff. So they say that we only need 1,557 now. So again, we're dropping that 300 we're talking about, 200 something right there. After taking all the private prisons in the state. Now, Bob, I want to stop so people don't go past that. When you're reading this, you read that and you go past it. But I need people to stop and think. In 2019, we had 1,736 full-time positions. We've dropped it now to 1,536, but we took on two, Allen Gamble and Hinton. We took on two private prisons, and they're talking about taking on another. Okay, so we took on those two privates. Now, again, did we add any? I mean, how would you take on Allen Gamble and not need extra people? So it's not only did we drop it with if we just said we held steady, how did you drop it? Did our inmate population decrease? No, our inmate population increased. So our inmate population is increasing, yet we need 300 less officers, yet we added two prisons, and by damn, we're dropping 300 something pins. And then they're claiming, oh, we got an 80% retention rate. These suckers will lie like nobody's business. There is no way that you can claim that number with whoever wrote this. They're nailing it. I hadn't even thought about you added two prisons, but you know what I'm saying? So, and again, they may say, well, we only added one prison. Fine. If you want to just say you added Allen Gamble, because we had Sayre. We had Sayre. So again, I think we were leasing that, and then we went to Hinton, and we leased that. So you may just say, well, we only added one. But if you added one, Bob, you probably, I mean, how many officers you think it takes to run Allen Gamble? I would think you'd need a good
Well, it's
160.
pretty clear they don't have enough.
Well, I can tell you back in the day that when I looked at OSP, and I forget how many inmates they had at the time, I want to say around 900,000 something. They had 236 officers back in the day running it, and they dropped it to 150 something, and then they really only had 145 because I looked those numbers up, and that's what they're coming back and saying. Oh, we don't need but 152. Well, how did you go from 236 to 152 and you justify that? Because what they're saying is, well, you've operated 6 months with only 152 because that's so obviously that's all you need. Yeah, but we operated without a tower. We operated without a yard person. We operated so they don't ever come back and say, "Oh, you had to reduce everything, and now that's why you have all these drug problems. That's why you're having all these murder issues. That's
Well,
why you
some of
have."
them don't have anybody that even checks people in when they come in.
Well, Bob, that's what I'm saying. Why do you have all the problems you have? Because you're short of staff. We've been hollering that for how long now? I sound like a broken record,
Well,
but
they're mismanagement. That's all there is to it. And they want to say, well, everybody's got problems. Well, I'm not really concerned about everybody else. I'm concerned about Oklahoma, and I'm concerned about the way that things run and gone downhill. And now all I can do is listen to the officers that are in the facilities every day and what they say is going on. But this deal here, where they went down and trying to help overtime because they're so short of money, but they're so short of money they can go out and spend $30,000.
well, Bob, here's some numbers that they supplied me with. Uh, they said 2021 December 2021, we had 1,252 officers, but we were budgeted for 1,759. Okay, 2022, we had 1135. Again, you're dropping dang near, well, you're dropping over 100. So in February 22. So here's what's funny. You went from December 21, get that, December 21 to February of 22. So we're talking 3 month period, December, January, February. Okay. They dropped 100 officers and they still budgeted for 759. And then in April, they jumped back up to 1261. So they gained about 100. But now all of a sudden we don't know how much they budget. Mr. Transparency, Mr. Harpe, you're so transparent. Guess what? Nobody can tell. And that's when you start. Okay, now we come into August of 22. We got 1290, but we're only budgeted for 1464. How did that happen?
I don't know.
1464. Okay, 1464, 1439. Now here's quite something. So September to October we're budgeted for 1464, but December we're budgeted 1439. How did you change the budget in midstream? Do they change their budget midstream? I thought they had to come to the state to get that budgeted rechanged, but apparently they can rechange it whatever they want. Now we're 1439. Oh, we come back to June, we're back up to 1533. And so now we're 1533, 1533. Again in March of 24, we just don't know what it is. So we go back to July of 24 this year, we're back to 1557. Now you tell me, and again, we've hovered around 1297, 1275, 1325. We had 100 officers more. That's quite impressive. But the next deal we got 1290, I think 1275. So you lost right at 50 officers right there. Now, how in the world are you going to claim in this time period your 80% retention? There's let me see, 50 officers lost there.
Well, it's pretty clear though. Now you can see where they have not being straightforward or being honest or
They're
transparent
liars,
in the
Bob.
numbers.
I said that at that hearing the other day. If you'll remember, you was in there, and I said, before we start, I want to tell you from where I'm from, where the time period I grew up in, and where I live. If you call a man a liar, it's fighting words. It's like calling you a low down skunk. Okay, that's the same as what it is. And I'm gonna tell you something. I sit right up there publicly. I'll sit right here today, and I'll say the man is a liar. And again, I always laugh how OK Thompson writes on there how JJ lacks the institutional knowledge. Has she ever stepped foot in an institution? She don't even know enough. I'm amazed that she can even say institutional knowledge. You know, she don't even have any institutional knowledge. Going to talk about what I know, but put out numbers and then say 82% when hey, look right there, their own numbers say, hey, you're missing 102, you're missing 50. You change like I change socks, man. You change every
Well,
day.
if they're reducing the pins down for make it look like this, then their
Oh,
numbers they're coming out with are not real numbers.
Bob, it's manipulation. You know, it's just like I called them out the other day saying they've reduced uh, SIRs, they've reduced serious incidents by 52%. Okay. Now you think about that. I went and pulled that months when they made that statement. I went and pulled that months. They had 17 assaults on staff. Bob, I don't know about anybody else. I'm just telling you the J.J. Humphrey rule, and this is the J.J. Humphrey rule. When you start seeing that number, because you can have some murders and you can have all this.
No, they're wrong. You're wrong on this. There have less violence has gone down under Trump. A heart. They don't have those violence you're talking about.
Well, but 52%, Bob, that means half. They reduced it by half, okay? Over half. Over half, they reduced it. Now they had 17 assaults on staff. Does that mean they were having 34 before? A little bit more than 34, because if you double it, add 2%, okay? So 34 assaults, is that what they're saying? Because I'm going to tell you something. Assault on staff is where you've lost out, because that's when inmates no longer fear you. When they go to laying hands on you, when they go to attacking and assaulting the staff, you got a problem, okay? They've got deaths. They had 15 deaths. So let's go over some of the numbers. 15 deaths, okay? 4 or 5 of them would have been murder, all right? They had 8 ODs. Now, do you think that's what I can come up with them not giving me anything? This is all these numbers are me going and finding them, okay,
Right.
without their help, okay? So they had 15 deaths that I can confirm. They had 8 ODs that I can confirm. They had, I think, 6 Prius, and I called one of them in, I think, because they were prostituting the guy out on the yard. Uh, they had 2 suicides, and I couldn't tell if they died or not. They had 2 air flights that I couldn't tell if they died or not, because there could be 4 possible more deaths right there, Bob. So again, if that is the numbers, 17 assault on staff, 15 dead, 8 OD'd, 6 raped. Guess what? If that's number 2 suicide, and you're saying that's down by 52%, what the world? Are you saying that before you had 30 dying a month? And so again, Bob, you don't have to go back and pull the medical examiner's report. Medical examiner said that we had 317. Now they tried to make you look bad the other day when you give this number. What they say that you were saying they had that many
Oh,
murders?
they had only had 12 homicides.
Bob, that's such a lie. I mean, that's such a lie. And again, here's what's funny, Bob. We proved the other day, and we showed that what they're doing is they're going and investigating these homicides. They're not turning them over to the county. And what they're doing is writing a Class X. I went and looked it up. Class X3, death of another human. Okay, what did we start writing people up? Why do we have a Class X write up for killing another person if you're not going to use that So you're going to put that in and not even charge the person with murder in the county. Why do you do that, Bob? I can tell you why. Because we're covering up our numbers. We're not even turning. Can you believe they're that sorry? Who does that? I mean, that is sorry. Sorry that you're going to do that. And they, oh, no, that ain't what happened. We filed charges. I had a guy confront me and say, they filed charges. I said, yeah, they filed charges after I asked to look at their records when I put an open records request in. No,
Was
no,
it
they
20
filed.
days, 20 days later?
Oh yeah, they would say no. They filed that. I said I'll tell you when they filed it. They filed it on October 21st. Oh no, yeah they did. Go pull it up. Well, I laughed. This guy he had it on his phone, but he pulled it up and he goes, "Oh, okay, you're right on that." I go, "Yeah, I'm right on that because I guarantee you I've looked at it. I was watching it." So they would not report it until after I requested. I don't think they was ever going to file charges on him. And I can tell you this, Bob, I know for a fact they wrote him up. I've seen it on their records. They wrote him up for a class X3 or 3X. Well, here's the deal. Why would you write somebody up for that? Because now they've made that case problematic. Because Bob, is it double jeopardy if they filed if they already took legal action on him? Can they then in turn around and file on him when they already took legal action? We're going to get down to the bottom of that. I'm fixing to expose them on that because I think they are really in a big mess right now because I think they've done that. What I'm going to start doing is trying to pull all these deaths, 317 of them, and go back and say, I want to see what the records show on all of these. And it's too late. They can't go back. They want to try to refile on every one of those. You talk about looking sketchy. They'll really be looking sketchy. But again, Bob, they had 317 deaths. So they tried to pin well, Bob said murders. No, you said deaths. We backed that up. We showed the daggum report from the medical examiner. There's no way they could have got that confused. That's them trying to play games with words. They're liars. They're misrepresenting. And so we said 317 deaths. And again, if you divide that into the 21 months, it's roughly 15 deaths a month. And I will tell you, out of that 15 deaths, there's going to probably be 4 to 5 deaths of murder. And Bob, how many times did we get on here? This week, guess what? You had 2 stabbed at Hinton yesterday. 2 stabbed at Hinton. 1 dead, 1 I don't know. How many I don't knows can I find out afterwards? I'm having a hard time. Those I don't knows, like these air flights. I see.
They had a death yesterday.
Yeah, Hinton yesterday.
I know. We did our show last Friday. There was a death. I think there was 2 deaths on Saturday and Sunday, one or the other.
Yeah, there was one at Allen Gamble right after we did. I think we did show on Friday, and they had a death at Allen Gamble on Saturday. I think, if I remember. Again, Bob, it's hard to keep up with. I know I was looking the other day because I'm really paying attention to these assault on officers, and I had seen 3 or 4 this week assault on officers. And so again, I'm trying to pull these without because again, the department has publicly come out and stated they are preventing me from getting these open records. I can't get the open records again. I have to get them from hook, crook, and look and try to get everything. In fact, I was impressed that whoever got these numbers, I hadn't seen those numbers. I was like, boy, this is a super good job. Tell me where y'all got these. I need to tap into that. But again, we've got people out there. And that's what they don't understand, Bob. What makes that department, and they always have been mad at me and you over this, because we talk to people. They don't talk to their employees. We talk to their employees. And so we get out and we talk and we talk, and people call us, they email us. So we find out about, oh, hey, there was a death over here. Now, here's what's funny. The inmate family called.
Yeah, that's new. You froze on us. That's new. Well, besides all these numbers, now I understand that they got a fellow that wants to be a girl, and he's wanting to have a sex change. Now, I don't think that the taxpayers should pay for a sex change at all. I mean, I don't know what in the world we're coming to when we're going to pay for a sex change and we can't even put enough officers on the in the facilities to make it safe, where it's dangerous situation for the officers.
30, 40 deaths? Is that what you're saying, Director? I mean, think about what you're saying. They don't even think about the numbers.
Back
Eight,
up, back up. You was frozen, so say what you better start all over.
I'm just saying, Bob, the numbers when they say that we have an 80% retention rate, and then you go actually pull the numbers of what they had, you know, lies. And when you pull up their travel, lies. And when you pull up, oh, we dropped 60%. Bob, that's one of the most unbelievable. You put a lapel body cam on, and rape stops at Howard McLeod Penitentiary. Now they go pick one of the lowest, easiest run prisons, minimum security, don't have a whole lot of problems. They got problems, but not as much as everywhere else. They go pick one of the best. They turn around and said they had one of the best Prius, but yet you put on a lapel pin, and guess what? All of a sudden, 60% of the rapes. How did they come up with that number, Bob? I mean, what evidence do they have to show that 60% of the rapes? And now here's what's funny, Bob. If you had one rape and you didn't have another rape, how much did you drop? 100%.
Yeah.
We had 100% drop. And again, that's what we just got to start calling them on their lies. And again, if they lacked the institutional knowledge and they were doing this just by mistake, I wouldn't be near as rough on them. You know what I'm saying? I'd just go, okay, they don't know what they're talking about. I wouldn't come out and call them liars. You can't do this. You can't do this. They're not that stupid. These are smart people. You said it a while ago. These are not stupid people. You can't do this unless you're intentionally manipulating and lying about numbers. And that's, Bob, it's just unbelievable because, again, what are they doing? Inmates are dying. Inmates are being raped. Families are being extorted. Officers are having to work, be on call, work overtime. And again, now they've got to be used to living on this level. Now they cut it, but you keep your phone on and you stay in contact with us 24/7 because we own you. We own you. You have no life outside of our department. Now we'll fly all over everywhere and we'll party on your dime, but you stay at home and you stay on the phone. You come to work when we say, and if you don't, we'll write you up. We'll write you up and we'll fire you. And we'll threaten you with your livelihood while we're being liars, partying on a dime, and that's who they are. And that burns me, Bob.
I wonder if he's flying first class.
Oh, I'd almost guarantee you they're living large. You know what I'm saying? They're going up there and having a good time, good time on all of this. And Bob, let's not. We almost forgot about something. And I have been getting so many calls on their food issues.
Right.
So, okay, like my understanding, they're having a lot of problems on their farm. They just fired some of their top people on their farm. Again, I'm being told that they're going to powdered milk instead of real milk. They're going to do this powdered milk. I'm knowing from what I'm hearing, really big deal that the people who order, what do they call that? The kosher meal. That if you're, is that I can't remember, is that Muslim or Jew or whatever that you don't eat pork and stuff. So if you order all that, you get milk, but the regular guy gets powdered milk. That's going to be a big issue. That's going to start a big thing. But why are we going to powdered milk? Why are we cutting all of these food products? And I'm hearing, Bob, I'm hearing.
We want to put that out, get rid of all our employees and hire it out.
Privatize, Bob. That's
privatize,
what.
Yeah, privatize. While they doing the kitchen and maintenance, they want to privatize them. We just got out of that privatizing.
Here's the deal. we wasn't 5 months ago. Enough is enough. We're getting rid of this private prison. We got rid of Allen Gamble. Everything we got to get rid of these privates. We got a year contract on Geo down there at Lawton. We're gonna get rid of. I figured Geo was wanting to get rid of. Hey, Geo probably with Donald Trump coming in will be looking to do something else. So I don't know. We can see what happens on that. I'm hearing they're going back to Sayre. I'm hearing they're going back to Watonga over there. But anyways, all yet to be seen because they don't tell. You know what? They're supposed to tell legislators what they're doing. Everything is hidden. Everything is kept under. You know what I'm saying? They're not transparent. They're not public like they're supposed to be. But here's the thing: why all of a sudden all this stuff supposed to be? Bob, I even heard he's looking at privatizing his security up there in his high rise in his big downtown Oklahoma City office. So they're broke, but they can go downtown and without state approval. My understanding they had to have legislative approval. He come back and said, "Well, we asked the speaker and we asked the budget chairman. Well, guess what? That ain't legislative approval. That's legislators. That is two legislators. That is not the legislation. So you violate the state law, and it's like, all right, no big deal. We can violate that. That don't matter. That don't apply to us. Oh, how about a raise? Well, that don't apply to me neither. I can embezzle, and y'all just go on down the road because that don't apply to me. I can do whatever. I'm Stephen Harpe. I can do whatever I want."
Speaking of that, they said that I know you've asked a number of times about this $90,000. They said they've told you this time and time again. Is that true?
Sure. Yeah. They told me that they switched over. He's on video saying it, that he brought it over from his OMES when he was OMES director, that he transferred that over to the Department of Corrections. Only deal is you can't do that. That's not legal. So yeah, they've explained how they illegally done it, and I've asked them to show me how they legally did it. I need legalized. So there's three ways. I've explained this to them. Now I explain it really slow. Y'all listen, because I know y'all listen to this. I'll explain it really slow. So here's the deal. You can have three ways. That's three. I know y'all do fuzzy math, but y'all can count to three. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, one way is that you can have the legislators approve it. Okay. So that's one way. You can have the Board of Corrections approve it. So the Board of Corrections can approve it, or you can have the governor approve it. There's three ways: the board, legislator, or governor. Now I've checked. I'm not going to say that I get perfect, but I checked that board because you would have to put it out on your agenda. And guess what? I didn't see it, but I might have missed it. And in case I missed it, please send it to me. And if you'll send it to me, I'll shut up. If legislation did it, I'll shut up. Get me that. I don't see those two, so it's possible the governor did it, but I don't want to backdate it. I don't want the governor to do it today and say, "Well, I'm just proof that horse left the stall." I'm looking for the document that raised not your salary. It ain't your salary, Hart. It ain't your salary. It is the director's salary, because you won't be director from now on. So again, here's who comes in behind you. What are they going to make? And are they going to make it 275? If so, where was that director's pay authorized? When was that director's pay authorized? Now that's not too hard to understand. Now they say they've explained it to me. Go back and show me where you've explained that to me, because the only place that I have it documented is where you said it on tape at a budget hearing and you claim that you transferred it to one or the other. You can't do it. I asked you that question on purpose. In fact, I kind of led you on that, Mr. Harpe, if you'll remember. I led you and said, "Well, I heard, y'all don't tell me nothing. I heard that this is how you did it. Is that true?" And so I said that and asked you if it's true. And you said, "Yes, that is true." If I'm not mistaken, we can go back and get the video and we search it out, but I'm pretty certain I'm correct. But if they want to show me something that I'm wrong, I'll get up. If they want to show something where they've explained that to me, I will happily get on here and go, "Shut my mouth. I was wrong." And Bob, I know this will shock people, but I can be wrong. People are wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I,
JJ, to be clear, on the this percentages they put out how good everything was doing,
mhm.
all gone, but they didn't say, well, we use pins, so it's a little different.
No, they don't explain how they dropped. Oh, we dropped 400 officers and we retained. So guess what? We had 1736, but now we had 1200. But what we did, we dropped pins down to 1400. So so now we're only below. We're just missing a couple of hundred people. So we were able to retain. So guess what? Because we manipulate numbers, we didn't count this 300, 400 right here, and so that don't count on retention. No, we retained from here, from what we claim to here. And now we're going to show you we're doing a great job. And again, if they did that by accident, all right. But they did not do that by accident. They did it completely on purpose.
Well,
They understand
between that and how they do that, and this how they're bullying these employees around, and when they say Mr. Harp, he is not a bully. I don't know what that's a bully when you have to do people like that. You treat people like that.
Well, Bob, you've seen how he treated you. I've seen how he treats me. And again, Bob, I've said this on here. I'm after DHS like you wouldn't believe. I'm on DHS. But if you go back and look at any of my public speakings on DHS, if you go back and look at anything I've ever said about DHS, I always say how much I like their director. Now, if we find out that she knew that kids were being molested, I'm gonna hold her accountable. I'll hug her neck, hold her accountable. I'm not after. I like her. Okay, she's always treated me nice and with respect. Now, if we had to hold her accountable and we find out she did know this stuff, okay. I'm same way with Harp. If Harp was doing all this and we were trying to all work together, and Bob, go back to Director Crow. Did you agree with everything on Director Crow?
No.
And there was times that I was closer, that I could get more stuff done. Y'all was kind of mad at each other, and then it would switch, and they'd be mad at me, and probably more times they were mad at me, and they probably got along with you. But there was times it switched back and forth. But guess what? The day Director Crow left, I could call him up. We could go to dinner together. I liked him. I don't think you ever heard me cussing Director Crow. We always, when we said something, now hold on, we disagree with him, but now he's helped us with this, and he's helped us with. We would always try to go. He did this. He did this. Okay, now we got this.
Well, there's one thing for sure you can say about Director Crow and Director Allball. They respected their employees.
Oh, and I've always said that. I think Crow did want. I mean, he tried to do when we had issues, and we call him and hey, y'all fired this one. Let me look into it. Hey, Bob. Okay, we'll take care of this. We dropped all those lawsuits. We were doing everything. But here's the difference, and this is why you see me openly badmouth this director. This is why you see me openly call him liar
Well,
because
JJ, here's another issue. Now we got to talk about these lawsuits where they're bringing in these high powered lawyers making anywhere from $300 to $500 an hour on this minor cases really that they had challenged and went on. Now we're going to
But Bob, that goes back. That goes back to what I was just talking about. Why do I openly badmouth him? Because he will fire people, lose, know he's in the wrong, know he's in the wrong. How can you lose this many cases? Show up and not even have a defense. Just show up because we said so.
because they said so. That's their attitude. Hey,
We say
we
so.
said so, and that's all you need to know. We said that he did this, and I don't have to show you anything. And you just have to believe us because we know better than that.
How arrogant can you be to show up? And Bob, this last one, I don't think Luke would mind. He actually got up and they talked about his case. So they went to the civil service court, and I think they beat him twice over there. So
Right.
they appeal it, and they okay to appeal it. So everybody knows that Harp is the main one who was involved in setting up this civil service court. Okay, now he loses in his own court that he set up, but he's not going to accept those rulings. He's not going to accept the fact that they lost because they showed up without absolutely no case. Now we're going to appeal it. So they get over to the appellate court or to district court, because that's who they appeal it to, is district court. They show up with 2 lawyers, Bob. 2 lawyers. You know what they're paying those lawyers? Guess what they're paying?
I know it's $300 to $1,000 an hour.
$450 to $500 an hour times 2. So either you're paying $900 or you're paying $1,000. Somewhere between $900 and $1,000 an hour to have them represented. Then they get over there, and guess what? What are they going to represent them on? They can't have a new case. They were going to produce all this new stuff. Guess what? They can't do that, because guess why? This is an appeal on the case that was before the civil. So whatever they appeal on had to be done in that. They didn't do anything. I don't see how the appellate court or the district court's going to do anything but rule against them, because they're not able to put on anything new. They don't have anything new. They didn't present anything. And so again,
that case is so complicated. It took 2 of them.
Well, and Bob, again, why are we hiring outside counsel at $450 to $500 an hour? Now you can go get a good lawyer cheaper.
I think I said $1,000. That is $500. Yeah.
Yeah, it's $5, but it's times 2, Bob. So it is $1,000. You're right in a way, because when you show up with 2 of them, you're going to get $1,000, and that's why they show up with 2, because they're going to build the state out of more money. And again, but Bob, we can get cheaper attorneys. But the question is, why are we having to hire an attorney? Why do we have a general counsel? If we're going to pay an entire division general counsel, which I'm just going to go right on here and say, I mean, the way their general counsel would act, I've seen her act, and what I've seen her do, I can understand why they'd want to go hire. I get it, but then I'd fire her and get somebody worth the darn. You know what I'm saying? If she can't do the job, put her down the road. But if you have a general counsel, that's what they're hired there for, is to represent you. Now, if you had some major case, okay, you may need somebody to come in but again, this is what general counsel's for. These are not major cases. These are employee cases that they're losing at 98% rate. 98%. That ought to tell you something right there, Mr. Harpe. If you're getting your butt kicked at 98%, that ought to tell you that things are bad. And again, you're going to appeal this to district court, cost the state of Oklahoma massive amounts of money, because that's 28 cases we're involved in. Bob, we know Luke is involved in another case where there's what, 6 of them, I think, 6 or 9 suing them. And again, I expect they'll win. I expect that they'll probably cost state. And I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, they sent a letter to Mr. Frisbee, our attorney, that they was going to take these to Supreme Court.
Yeah, they're going to take it all the way. And here's what's funny. Guess what? Just more and more money, more and more money. What are you appealing on? I mean, what is it? If you have a legitimate reason, I mean, if there's something to actually appeal on, if there's some reason, but I know this case. Guess what, Bob? His attorney, Frisbee, and him the other day when we were in that hearing said to this date. Now, what are we, a year behind? I mean, how long ago did they fire him? Was it a year and a half, 2 years? What was it?
About 2 years.
Okay, to this date, they don't know. They've never said. Going to court, they've lost twice in court. They've been to district court now, 3 different times in court. And these people have never said why they fired him, to my knowledge. Now, that's what I understand. And that's coming from, OCP lawyer, and that's coming from him. No knowledge of why they fired him. I mean, is that not insane? That's insanity. And again, we're seeing that done wholesale. And what we're seeing, Bob, is just the cases we're involved in. I mean, do you think that the only cases they got are cases that we're the only ones that ever file anything? Because guess what? There's 6 other people who have filed that didn't file through OCP. And guess what? There's the doctor they fired. She didn't go through OCP. So again, we're looking at all these cases that and I can name you a bunch of cases that didn't take them to court that they wrongfully fired them. You know what I mean? There's probably as many people out there that we didn't represent that weren't OCP members. By the way, if you want to know one reason, join OCP, because after 90 days after you've been employed or after you've signed up with OCP, you get legal defense. And if you don't want to do it for no other reason other than that, you're smart to do it for that. So if you're out there listening, you're not a member, you dang sure want to jump on that and make sure you get on that to cover that. So, Bob, I'm going to tell you something. That's why, again, a while ago when I was talking about why do I badmouth this guy and I don't do others, is he doing this knowingly. We called him out on it how many times on this, on that fact. We called him out on the deaths. We've called him out on the assaults. We've called him out on the extortion. We called him out. Bob, and I know I beat this horse. But those shower deals, and what they don't realize, Mr. Harpe, so that you know, 6 of those cases just got accepted in the federal court. I'm going to go testify that you knew it, and I know that you did, and I have the reports to prove it. And y'all openly lied and said that y'all were moving these inmates from one cell to the other and had to hold them three days. I mean, anybody with a brain would know that's a lie. But here's the deal. You had reports showing these people were being put in these cells for punishment. You had that from your own employees. They were being given punishment. They were having food withheld. They were having bathrooms withheld. You know it, and you come out and you lie about something like that. And Bob, I really believe if we can find the right court, they can hold him accountable for human rights violations. Now here's what he does, Bob. He tries to isolate himself, and he tries not to, like when you call him, you can't get to him. When you email him, you can't get to him. But that's why I always send it to Director Harpe. So if a legislator sends something addressed to him, he should get it. It should be sent to him. So I don't think he's going to be able to hide behind that. He's trying, you know what I'm saying? He tries to isolate himself so that he won't be held responsible. I think he's going to be held. We're going to keep moving until we hold him accountable.
Well, JJ, what's this going on? I'm hearing that DOC, I think he either is going to, or the guy's asked for him. He wants to have surgery changed to a female. Now, using my tax dollars that I have to do that.
Bob, I'm glad you brought that up. I had forgotten. There's just so many things to talk about. I forgot. But Bob, we should not be paying. Imagine all the problems that come with that right there. Why would the state of Oklahoma allow a man in prison to have a sex change? That's pure stupidity on our end if we're doing that. And next, who's going to pay for that? Do you think if you go out here and talk to Oklahomans, hey, you think we ought to pay? You think we ought to foot the bill to have some cat changed? Why? And Bob, here's what's even funnier. I passed a bill last year that says you're going to be sent to the prison of your birth certificate. If you're male on your birth certificate, then even if they change his sex, by law, they can't move him. So now you're going to have a guy who claims to be female at that prison. That's going to go over like a big lead balloon. He'd be the most popular pet. Everybody want him as a cellmate, her, whatever it's called, you know. I mean,
but I don't get it where they're looking at paid for that.
Well, Bob, I'm trying to think.
Of course, he's doing good. It's not his money.
Yeah, Bob, I'm trying to think of the pronoun that you would use for that individual. What pronoun would you? You know, they got them, theirs, they, and him, and hers, and the pronoun. I guess is I don't think popular is a pronoun. That's a noun, ain't it? Popular is a noun. I don't think it's a pronoun. You can't use popular. Man, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to scratch my head on that one, Bob, because I'm gonna tell you. But I will say that I'll use another adjective to describe the people who allow that to go on. It's called stupid. That's stupid, ignorant. Yeah, that'd be another one right there that I could slap on there. Who would allow you know, Bob, we shouldn't be paying for hormone blockers and all the medications to do that. We should not be paying that. We should not be having surgery. And I'll probably have to go back, and I thought we covered that already by passing a bill saying whatever you are on your birth certificate, that's going to be where you're going to go to prison. I thought we had that covered. I guess. And again, here we are. Who's in charge? I mean, who does that? Director Harper, are you doing that? Are you going to act like you don't know what's happening in your prison?
He has his foot. Everything they got to get. They can't do anything without him. Everything goes to him. You know, and I understand too that at OU Medical, we're paying for beds, and nobody's in them.
DOC's paying for beds and nobody's in them.
But the hospital is moving to another area, and they're all split up rather than being over here. But there's really some mismanagement going on there with that contract.
Well, Bob, I took them down to a place down there in Tallahassee several years ago. I can tell you it's during COVID because I took one of their main employees. I took Justin Ferris down there, who's a good guy, and I think he'd probably work on this. But I took him down there to look at a veterans center that was a medical facility, and they moved that one, but that we could take that over and use it. And again, what they need to do is get their own facilities where they don't have all this transporting. Bob, if you looked into ambulances, I'd like to know what we spend on ambulances. And you know, hey, as many deaths they got at Allen Gamble and Hinton and Dick Connor.
Ambulance service.
They to get their own ambulance service. They can pay off. They probably save money with their own ambulance service. You know what I'm saying? Bob, jokingly, I say that, but you know what? But I'd put a pin to it. Director, put a pin to it and see if you wouldn't save money. I think you probably could. But here's the deal. They need to have their own facilities. They need these inmates that they're keeping longer and longer and have health problems. That way they have doctors right there when they're having somebody stabbed and they have to do long-term care. They can put them there. Bob,
we didn't get over everything we needed to talk about. We'll have stuff for next week. But I appreciate your help and all the work you do. I know you're busy trying to help everybody, and I appreciate it. So we'll just call it a day. And
Bob, we may need to do a study on ambulance service. We may hit on something right there, save them some money right there. But
yeah.
But hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. Y'all have a good day.